Hair. Actually, there's one more after this. So,
Okay.
male,
Perfect segue.
yeah, male doll hair is awful for the most part. I feel like, specifically with rooted hair, like I said earlier, I love rooted hair. I prefer rooted hair, but most of the rooted hair on boys is disgusting, not done very well. And I feel like they kind of default to this like very not flattering haircut, which I don't know. There's something. It's like very choppy. Like the boy hair is very choppy. So so it's either choppy or they do like a fade.
This undercut is so common. Like there are a couple OMG boy dolls that have it. There's most of the Rainbow High boy dolls have it. The Bratz boy dolls have it. All of the Ever After High, well, not all of them, because you do have this one. So this is okay. His hair's messy because he was in storage and I just took him out. But like you're saying, like it's choppy and weird. Like, oh yeah, he's got the undercut. Like I think that when it comes to boy doll hair, short hair in general is tough because like I don't know how it is on an assembly line, like they can achieve a certain thing that they want to do, but when they're mass producing something, I don't know how difficult or easy certain things are. I know styling short hair when I do on a custom is really tough, and getting it to lay the right way, it takes more effort than it should, especially if you're mass producing a doll line as opposed to customizing one single doll, but I guess this hairstyle just must be easy to do because they can root the top of the hair all one length or whatever, and then they can flock the rest of it or paint the sides to make an undercut, and then there you go. And then I think that they get annoyed and they're like, they give up, so they're like, instead of rooted hair, let's just do sculpted hair for if it's gonna be short. Anyway,
right, and I understand those decisions, but and sometimes I do prefer a sculpted hairdo, just because I feel like it would be impossible to like create that in a actual so I get it.
Depending on what they're trying to do, I agree. I think that a sculpted hairstyle looks better in the long run than trying to do rooted hair, but like when the rooted hair is so short or a very specific hairstyle that's hard to achieve. I get it. I think they just need to give more boy dolls long hair. Like I like long hair. I mean, I have long hair. I like long hair on guys anyway. So I really think that more boy dolls need to have long hair options, just to kind of go back to the whole diversity or like more options thing as well.
Right, and not that everyone customizes, but the more of something you have, you can kind of like make it your own, cut it if you don't like the long hair. So just give us that option. I don't know if this is unpopular, but I prefer my male dolls to have longer hair. As a native guy, I wish more men dolls had stylable long hair. Also, the short gel look is kind of ugly to me. I hate the crunchy texture too. Yes, so much gel in short boy hair. It's so disgusting.
It might as well be sculpted, because at that point it's literally like a helmet head. But that's actually a great point, going back to the topic of like representation. Like the fact that because he said he's native and would like to see more representation in that respect as well. I agree. Not every, there are guys that have long hair. For me, I do it because I like the way it looks. But for somebody who might be like First Nation or Native American or something, might have like either a spiritual or religious belief, even some they believe not to cut the hair or something, like I don't know, it's not part of my culture, so I don't know enough about it to like whatever, but I do know it's a thing.
Absolutely. I want Mattel to make male counterparts of their core dolls and collector dolls. Please, no plastic hair. They're supposed to be fashion dolls, not action figures. The male counterpart comment, I would love if they're not gonna, I mean, specifically Barbie, they're not gonna do this, but having like, because I feel like specifically Barbie used to have like, there was like a Barbie and also a Ken. Now they don't do that as much, where they have like the Ken version of the Barbie. It's just like a Barbie and maybe like a friend or something.
Yeah, because if you look at like when they come out with the camping set line, or they come out with like Dreamtopia or something, and there's a line from the new Dreamtopia movie, and they've got like three fairies and 3 mermaids and a princess or whatever, but they don't have like any boy dolls like usually ever. And it's like, I don't know if they're just didn't. It was an all-female cast in the movie or what. But, yeah, you know, a lot of these lines will come out, and exactly most of the Barbie Extra, like we only have, out of how many waves of Barbie Extra, and we have 1 male Barbie Extra. It was from the Barbie Extra Fly line. It was the only one.
Right. R.I.P. Right? Allegedly.
True. Until we hear otherwise.
I mean, once I saw the mermaid slumber party dolls, I was like, I thought that line was dead. Like, where did these come from?
Yeah, right. I wonder if it actually was, or if those were just already in production and they decided, well, let's sell them to get rid of them, or if they're trying to come back. Who knows?
And then this last comment, my main issue with male dolls is that certainly at Mattel, they are still on the whole giving them molded hair rather than rooted. If the female dolls have rooted hair, then the male dolls in the line should have rooted hair, in my opinion. The male Rainbow High, Shadow High dolls have weird child faces. I would never buy one. It's strange the boy LOL OMG dolls, also by MGA, are so good, in my opinion. I think because they match so well with the girls of the line, they still have the same facial characteristics, just a bit tweaked here and there. So it totally works. Obviously agree about the rooted hair. I do think the Rainbow High, Shadow High dolls have, well, I don't know if they have childlike faces. I think the boys specifically probably look more childlike because there isn't as much hair. So like, it's almost like they're like a baby with like a little bit of hair or something. Whereas like the girl dolls are obviously, you know, they're made up, they've makeup. I think the makeup also adds to the age of the dolls and the outfits also. But yeah, and I think, I don't know, what do you think of the OMG versus Rainbow High, Shadow High facial features?
They're not my favorite. I don't know. Like, I think there's different ways to look at it. First of all, it's an art style thing. You know, like I like certain types of animation, but I don't like others. And it's kind of a similar thing. So like if I look at the way that that Monster High doll faces, boy dolls are done, I really like them. I love the way that Mattel does faces. I'll just put it that way. Like I like the design. Even though they'll have different designers, there's still something very Mattel about a particular design, the way the shape of certain eyes and lips and whatever. So that being said, I like the way that like Monster High and Ever After High dolls look. I like the way that Ken dolls look and stuff like that. But then you go over to OMG and Rainbow High, and they have these very exaggerated features that are done in a way, to me, that's not necessarily an art style that I like. I mean, OMG in general, but especially for the boys, it's a little unnerving. It's a little just awkward. Like, I don't know, it's just awkward is the best way to put it. Like, it looks kind of weird. If you get used to it, then that's a little different. Like, you can get the doll and still appreciate it. But I don't know, those gigantic eyes and whatever, it looks weird because I think big eyes is one of the tricks that animators use to get people to fall in love with a character. The big doe eyes, it's because if you look at like adults versus babies, like babies have larger eyes in proportion to their head size. And there's a whole psychology thing behind it. But basically, when I look at Rainbow High and OMG specifically, and I see these dolls with big ol', adorable eyes or whatever on like this ripped 6-pack body, it doesn't add up. One of the reasons that Rainbow High isn't necessarily my favorite doll line is only because of the scale. They kind of look like toddlers to begin with, because they're like shorter and wide or whatever, big heads. So
yeah.
If you put it next to a Barbie, like Barbie is more human or more adult, and then Rainbow High is more child in proportion. Right. So that kind of adds to it. And I don't really collect dolls that are young looking, like kid dolls usually. I prefer the adult fashion dolls. So the boy dolls especially is just kind of like, I don't know, I don't connect with them as much. Obviously, like if you have a preference for boy dolls in general anyway, then it may not matter as much. I think it's just my rationality, or not even rationality, literally just like I'm trying to think what goes through my head when I'm deciding to buy a doll or not buy a doll. And that's kind of when I see the boy dolls from those lines, that's how I end up feeling, I guess.
I forgot I have another page of these. I prefer dolls with rooted hair. Molded hair is not always bad. Rooted hair only works for me if the face sculpt is fire. Otherwise, team molded hair for the win.
Yes, you know what? I actually agree with that, because there are some male dolls that honestly, well, once again, it depends on the style for the hair. But there are some face molds that don't really look that good with rooted hair. They look better if they had molded hair. And I don't know why. I couldn't give you like a checklist of the reasons, but there are just some that don't look as good.
Yeah. Before I forget, not this has anything to do with what we're talking about, but I was very excited when I got this.
Is that Dumbledore?
Dumbledore, yeah. This is the Mattel Dumbledore that was on their website.
Oh, wow.
Mattel Creations.
Because he's a collector one.
Yeah,
I have one, but I guess he was a playline version, and he has a molded beard.
When I saw this was before. So I recently watched all the Harry Potter movies. That was just because I was like, I need to have some knowledge of Harry Potter. I feel like in this weird world that we're living in. But I saw this on Mattel Creations, and I was like, he has a rooted beard, which you rarely see that. So I jumped on this, and I got real excited. Yeah, and he's got like rooted hair. So I'm definitely going to customize him. I'm not sure how, but he's not going to be Dumbledore.
That is really cool. I love the fact that it's rooted and not plastic molded. Because like I said, the one that I have has a molded beard, but also Hagrid. I like when I make my mini-me, I want to use the Hagrid body because it matches. But with Hagrid's face, I could work with his face to make it look like me. And he's already got rooted hair that's longer and that's similar to my hair color. I would have had to do a lot less work, except his beard is a real big, long beard, and it's molded plastic. And if you take it off, there's a big hole in his face that I'd have to resculpt. And like, I'm not messing with any of that, So it's like, I was disappointed that it wasn't a rooted beard.
I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I want all dolls to have rooted hair, even male dolls like Ken. The hippie style Ken doll is one of my favorites just because how he looks in long hair. I don't know. I need to look that one up. I'm drawing a blank on that one.
The hippie style, is that the fashionista that came out not too long ago with the tie-dye tank top?
I don't know.
Because he's one of the ones that I was thinking of where it's like, I don't know if I like I just don't care for his face. his face is not my favorite.
He's got a busted face. I feel like there is like a hippie, like a vintage hippie Ken. I feel there's somewhere in my mind I'm like picturing it, but anyway.
I know now I have to look it up and see if if there's like, maybe he wasn't called, I don't know. The only one that's coming up is that fashionista that has the whatever. I mean, there's custom ones. Like there's a couple that people made, and I don't know, maybe one of them's like an actual vintage 70s doll. But
maybe I'm thinking of the Integrity Toys. I think there's like a hippie Integrity Toys that came out recently. Anyway, the fact that male dolls feel like an afterthought in majority of doll lines, lack of bearded male dolls, except if it's a Disney prince of a gimmick like shaved Ken. Too many of these dolls have molded hair and find a lack of fashion packs. Rooted hair, more often than not, looks awful. Molded hair, just no. So,
well, there you go. Yeah,
there we go.
I'm always going to be team rooted hair in general, partially because I just like it, because that's why I like dolls. I like playing with the hair, but also for customizing.
Right.
But I get the molded hair, but I also agree. But kind of going back, also just dolls with facial hair in general, we just don't see a lot of them.
No, you've seen the leaks of the fashionista boy with the
I love. Can I just say, okay, another side topic, the new fashionistas. I'm kind of obsessed. My Walmart finally got only 3 of them, but they finally started getting them. I actually the pictures were one thing, but seeing them in person, I actually really like them, and I'm going to be picking up a few. And I like that they're it's like obviously budget dolls, like they're fashionistas. So let's just set the expectation already where fashionistas land, but they're inspired by old iconic dolls, and I'm loving that. And I think the Ken is supposed to be like totally hair Ken or something like that.
Yeah, it would be amazing if he had actual rooted hair, because it's
Doesn't
totally
he?
hair Ken. I don't think so. Does he?
I don't know. Well, hold on. Let me. Now I gotta pull up Instagram real quick and see, because I think that he people are showing him on Instagram.
Is it rooted?
Oh no, it is sculpted hair.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was sculpted. He just has a beard. That's like what people are losing their minds over, which is like, okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it's because he's got bangs that come down. Because most Kens have kind of a similar hairstyle where it's kind of like coiffed and parted on the side and going back. But this one, he has bangs that come down. I really like that hairstyle on him. I don't know if I'm probably actually gonna get him. I don't usually get a lot of the boy dolls, but like this one I might actually get. Just I really like that hoodie.
Yeah,
it's a hood. There's a hood on it, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, he's super cute, and some bad examples. And then the last thing I think the category is that the male dolls are underappreciated, which I get it. I mean, they are underappreciated. I feel like we talked about this a lot, that they're kind of like not the first thing that people will gravitate towards, consumers or manufacturers, because they know that male dolls do not make money. So, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think they're always going to be kind of second fiddle to the girl dolls. But if that is the case, I really just want, if they're gonna do that, it's like, just, I don't know, if you're only gonna give us like one male doll out of a line of like 6 girl dolls, like, can you just make the guy doll, like, I don't know, good? And not like crappy, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I agree. I think that they are underappreciated for what they are. I think that maybe it's, they don't put a lot of effort in, the companies don't put a lot of effort because of children's play patterns. Like they just, like kids that would normally play with dolls might enjoy girl dolls more than boy dolls for one reason or another. But I think really it just comes down to the things I already said. It's literally, for me, dolls are hair play. So dolls that don't have hair are not as fun for me. And the fashions, like the outfits that they wear and stuff like that, boy dolls tend to have, like, guys in general have a little bit more boring clothing options compared to women anyway. So then when, like earlier I said, it translates into the doll world. So I feel like that's contributing to this.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to have male representation in dolls. Some gay men don't collect male dolls out of misandry because some man hurt them. Also, Ken is underrated and needs more of a spotlight. Male dolls could have their own lines, like how girl dolls are, but because guy dolls are overlooked, they're glazed over. A lot of people can bring up original G.I. Joe, but if a company did that currently without thinking of how advertising presents them, it would get the negative backlash before people like it. Then it falls into obscurity.
Maybe
I saw your face like scrunch up when I read the second comment. Do you have any thoughts on
I don't think I fully understood it, and I'm wondering if when they said misandry, I don't know what that means. I wonder if they meant to say misogyny, or
it's
I don't know.
I think it's similar. I had to look it up too. Misandry is dislike of contempt for or ingrained prejudice against men.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know what? That's fair. I can totally see that, because I mean, I don't know about that reason specifically, but like, I mean, once again, I think that the girl dolls are pretty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I happen to gravitate towards them over boy dolls because I'm not necessarily looking for something to represent myself. I'm looking for something that's like an ideal of like what I want to play with, you know, or whatever, you know, like I've always been that way even when I was a kid. I picked the colors that I liked. I picked the, you know, the hairstyles and the outfits. Like when I'd play with my friends and they had a bunch of dolls, I choose the one that I like the way it looks the best or that I think is fun. And I want to play with that. So, you know, but I'm not necessarily picking what I think is the pinnacle of attraction necessarily. I can't speak from that point of view because I don't have a dislike or fear of other men necessarily. I don't know. Once again, that could be a whole separate topic to talk about, but
I mean,
I don't think that affects me for dolls, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I get that that's a possibility, and that's definitely like a legit excuse, I guess. If you know a horse, if a horse like kicked you in the face or something, and you're like traumatized by that, you're probably not going to be collecting horses. So yeah, I get it. that's a horrible example, but you know, the G.I. Joe comments. I having a male only doll line is interesting, and I feel like there are there male only doll lines?
There are, there have been. I don't know if there currently are, but G.I. Joe is just one perfect example. The thing is, they get labeled as action figures, and they're sold in a different area of the store because of marketing. But really, when it comes down to it, if you look at something that's articulated with removable fashions and has accessories, you know, and like can be classified as a doll for everything else, you know, I think one of the deciding factors for me a lot of times is whether they have molded hair or rooted hair, but and removable fashions. But you know, like they've had doll lines or toy lines, I should say, I guess, whether they're dolls or action figures, in the boys section all the time that are primarily male characters, and most of them are either action heroes or army guys or like G.I. Joe, or they're superheroes, or they're from a specific cartoon or something, like a specific movie or show.
I mean, I did a video recently on She-Ra, and She-Ra is a perfect example of that, because She-Ra is her vintage action figures were action figures, but they had rooted hair that for like hair play, and they had fashions. So it's like, what is this? It's like this is an action figure, but it's also kind of a doll. And the thing with like G.I. Joe is that, you know, initially G.I. Joe was the larger scale, and it literally was literally a doll, like a male doll, and they like. Didn't they just rebranded him, or they called him an action figure to make it appear that he was like more like for boys or something. It's so stupid. It's like it's all marketing. That was
action figure was made up from marketing, apparently, like in the 80s. I think there was I don't know. I watched a documentary not too long ago where they were talking about this exact topic when it came to like boy toys and boy dolls versus action figures, and where that line is drawn. And it turns out that line is very blurred. So it just depends on what your definitions are. But I remember there was now I don't remember what it was called, but there was a line of toys that was probably listed as an action figure, not G.I. Joe, but I had one when I was a kid, and I remember really liking it because he was fully articulated, and I cannot remember the name of it now.
And it was like a 12-inch.
Yeah, and he had removable outfits and stuff like that, and he came with like weapons and like whatever. But that's gonna drive me crazy now. Hold on. Well, I guess Action Man is one of them, but that's not the one I had. Max Steel, that's what it was.
Yeah, that was past my time.
He's like if G.I. Joe and Lara Croft were mixed together, like it's a weird combination, but like I thought it was cool. But he's like fully articulated. He's a 12-inch. I would consider this a doll. I would say that he is a doll because removable fashions, fully articulated. Yes, he has molded hair, but so does Ken. You know what I mean? He's about the size of a Ken doll. But I think he would only be considered an action figure for marketing. Now I want to go on eBay and find one of these. I'm like, I want to get the toys I had when I was a kid. I want to go back and find one. There's also a Spider-Man doll that I had. Yeah, it had like a remove. He had two different Spider-Man outfits. He had like he had normal Spider-Man, and then he had like the Scarlet Spider or whatever it was, where it's like a solid red suit with a vest, like a cut-off hoodie vest over it in gray. And underneath it was a literal Ken doll with like the bend and snap knees and everything. Like I remember having that, and that was one of my favorite toys. But there was a whole line that was that. So once again, I don't know if that was considered a doll or a action figure for marketing, but so I think that's what it is. I don't know if there's a lot of fashion dolls, quote unquote, that are male exclusive. You know, I think that they get turned into superheroes or something and called action figures. I think that's what the difference ends up being.
I want to do a video where we do like, is it an action figure or a doll?
That is such a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be a tough one.
Maybe we get like a panel of people and have a discussion on each one. Like, all right, why do you think this is a doll? Why do you think this is an action figure?
I love that. Have some kind of rubric, you know. Oh, kind of like how Rain just recently did with when they're like looking to buy a doll and how it feels like some kind of rubric to determine whether it's a doll or an action figure. Because there are some that I will like. People will be like, it's a doll, and I will fight tooth and nail saying, no, it's an action figure because of XYZ, you know, or whatever. But then there's on the other hand, they're like, it's called an action figure. I'm like, it's a doll, you know, like that Max Steel, it's a doll. Like, it's, you know, so I guess it just depends. Yeah,
so if you're watching this and you want to see a video like that, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see us like duking it out over action figures and dolls.
Or if there's any toy lines or brands in particular that you want us to talk about in that video.
That's like another like I feel like topic that people would get into for sure.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. So I don't know. So I guess to conclude, male dolls are definitely here. What? Yeah.
I said are the worst. No.
Yeah. It's fighting words.
Right.
So male dolls are definitely here to stay. I don't think they're going anywhere. My ultimate hope is that they just get better with time, and I feel like with like these like more modern doll lines, specifically MGA, I feel like their male dolls, the boy dolls, they're trying. they're getting there, like with like, you know, the fashions and the rooted hair. I just think about like vintage Ken dolls and vintage male dolls and how they look exactly the same, like across the board. Definitely a lot more diversity these days with male dolls. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're headed in the right direction. It's just really slow. It's a really slow progress.
Yeah.
So.
I also think like sometimes they make some progress and then they kind of take a step back or whatever, just because like if there was more dolls like this much articulation, this type of articulation, because a lot of boy dolls, they can't look up and down. They have that weird, sliced off head where it's just not, and they can only turn. I'm not a fan of that. So if they have like a ball joint for the head and then they're fully articulated, I will buy more. Like, I think that's a big thing for me.
Do you know why? And I don't think this is across the board, but do you know why boy dolls have articulated ankles and girl dolls typically do not?
I think it's because they have larger feet, and typically they pretty much all of their shoes are flat. So it's to make it easier to put, especially like if they have like this, like boots or whatever,
right.
It'd be easier to put the boots on and take them off. That's my guess. I don't know the actual reason, but now that you point it out, literally Monster High, Ever After High, Rainbow High, all the high school dolls. But yeah, no, most of them have that. And it's really interesting because a lot of girl dolls don't, but a lot of girl dolls have pointed toes, so they could either wear flats or heels, so it doesn't matter. And pointed toes, I think, are easier to put in and take out of shoes. So
yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I guess I just think like girl dolls should have the articulation because of the heels and the flat. You would think, I don't know, like why not just make their feet flat and then give them articulation so they could slip into heels.
Some dolls have that, and I think that they didn't do very well. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the actual reasoning behind it. I'm speculating. I'm thinking it's because of the size. Like if you look at Rainbow High, the boy dolls versus the girl dolls, the boy dolls have bigger feet. If you look at, even like Ken dolls and Barbie has the teeny tiny little feet, and then Ken doll have like feet that are more in proportion to a human. Same thing with Monster High and Ever After High. Yeah, it's just
here's your foot fetish shot right here.
There you go.
Feet. There you go. There's your free foot content.
Wait, hold on, I can. There we go. We can add to it there with his little high waters. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think it really just is for the sake of like, I think if he had flat feet, it'd be really hard to get into these boots. And not all dolls have boots though, so.
Yeah.
Was that wasn't a Ken? Was that a Ken?
That was a Ken, yeah. That's the this guy.
Okay.
I love this face sculpt. He is so good looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the feet, like, because I only saw the feet and I was like, that looks like that looked more like a Barbie by comparison, but he also has bigger legs as well. So
yeah,
maybe Ken and Barbie are more in proportion because of the doll line, whereas if you compare to Ken to like a Ever After High, the Ever After High has like a bigger foot. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Foot Talk. Welcome to Foot Talk. So thank you, Chad, for joining me in this weird unpopular male doll video. And I still love you, even though you despise male dolls. That's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
I don't despise the male dolls. I just don't collect all of them. Well, thank you so much for having me. I had fun.
And thank you for watching. As always, if you haven't, go ahead and check out Chad's channel, YouTube, Instagram. You're on other stuff, I'm assuming, too, maybe TikTok.
Yeah, Facebook, TikTok, some of the, I don't know. It's mostly YouTube and Instagram, but also TikTok, and then I have Facebook, and I post my Instagram stuff to Facebook because some people don't use Instagram, but they do Facebook. So,
got it. So definitely check him out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, of course. And I hope you have a lovely, wonderful morning, evening, night, day, whenever you're watching this. And I will catch you next time.